Welcome everybody to the second game of today. It is of course the Mineski Pro Gaming League season number 7, sponsored by mostly Gigabyte and Steel Series, but of course lots of smaller partners there as well for them. But it is going to be Mineski themselves going up against Team Ice here in the group stage, a best of one as we are HeflaTV. I'm gonna be Culture, joined by MRP Dota. Man, how you doing?
Doing lovely, absolutely. I'm excited to see what Mineski goes for. Interesting to see them ban out the Undying. I've seen them pick it up a few times recently. Less rock banned by Ice is because Jules has been running it quite a bit for Mineski. Something I really love about this lineup. Jules, Cuckoo, Owa, and Jesse Vash seem to be completely flexible with their roles. It's only Geo that's always playing in that 5 or 4 position support, but everyone else pretty damn flexible. They're going to go for an early pick Queen of Pain. We saw this happen in the first game of the night for United We Stand, and it didn't exactly pan out, so interesting to see them pick it up this early.
Yeah, it's just that popular of a hero, and of course, it does depend on what Team Ice go for now, but they have plenty of options to go for the lockdown necessary to deal with the Queen of Pain. Earthshaker being the first one for them. It's a hero that Ice have been just favoring all the time in general anyway. Doesn't really matter which patch it is, it looks like. But the weirdest thing for me is still a Tinker ban.
Yeah.
Course, it certainly feels team specific here. It feels like I'm just missing something.
I don't know so much if it's a respect ban. I mean, I have seen Ice run it very seldom, but perhaps something Mineski feels like they're a little bit vulnerable to is a lot of magic damage. Maybe they're a team that wants to clump up. I don't know. The laser refraction could really screw them, especially that they're considering picking up a Spirit Breaker here. He actually deals fairly well with Tinker, so kind of an odd ban, certainly so. Pretty standard stuff coming out from Ice, almost 6.83-esque with the Earthshaker Shadow Fiend. What do you think about the Queen of Pain Shadow Fiend mid matchup if that ends up being the case?
It's probably fine for both sides. It's really gonna just come down to like the support rotations in who's gonna win the lane. Otherwise, I think Shadow Fiend probably has the better time farming up, because especially in the Radiant side, you can easily stack your own jungle and just flash farm that. But
yeah,
since we already have a Spirit Breaker, just a Spirit Breaker charging in straight after like a Shadow Strike, which has already slowed down Shadow Fiend, they may end up with a couple of kills there, depending on of course where the Earthshaker also is, whether he's there to help or not.
yeah, he is a little bit sluggish early on is the SF, but I think you touched on the key point in terms of this mid lane is that Shadow Fiend being on the Radiant side, he certainly will have a lot of recovery available to him via those couple of camps near that mid lane, as long as Ice are diligent about it. And having an Earthshaker who's kind of a hero that's sacked a little bit early on, makes rotations in order to secure lane farm as well as stacking the jungle. They should be able to do that for their Shadow Fiend here.
Certainly so, as next set of bans, a Viper of all heroes banned by Mineski. Zeus to be removed by Team Ice, but if you're banning the Viper, do you just plan to use the Queen of Pain in somewhere which isn't the mid lane?
I don't know if that necessarily is indicative of them putting this cop in another lane. I mean, Queen of Pain, yeah, certainly does decently well against Viper, and other mid laners would not fare quite as well. So maybe that is revealing as to Mineski's
or is that like
draft.
an aggressive tri-laning coming from Mineski or something? Or maybe they just hate Viper and
I mean, I
deal with the
certainly hate
tankiness.
Viper. So yeah, he's a decent frontliner. It's. I don't think it works best with Ice's lineup, seeing they have a Shadow Fiend. I mean, SF is okay out of the safe lane. Viper is okay out of the safe lane, but I think both of them really find their home in mid lane. So Viper ban is interesting. Beastmaster we saw absolutely wreck from Hot 6 in Series 1 of the night. So certainly is a smart ban. Definitely as well that Primal Roar instant stunning up. The Spirit Breaker, who is charging through 3-second stun at level 1 single target, is crazy good, as well as into a Spirit Breaker who generally wants to build that BKB to run around and cause havoc during the fight. So nice ban coming out from Gigabyte, a little bit more, I guess a little bit more intuitive for us than the Viper and the Tinker, but either way, both drafts shaping up to be decently balanced thus far. Gigabyte are gonna, or Mineski are gonna have to look to pick up their supports here soon.
Yeah, unless they want to run like a straight out support Spirit Breaker in that 4 role, for example. But Team Ice now, they of course have one or space for one more support as well. Maybe go for an additional lockdown, pick up something like a Lion, possibly a Skydive Mage as well in trying to deal with the Queen of Pain there. Or if not, there's always an option to go for the offlaner straight away. Clockwork, for example, is available out of the more popular ones. And Centaur, although the Aghanim Scepter can be quite helpful, Centaur by itself isn't that popular of a pick, at least not yet.
Yeah, I mean, Ag's ultimate is pretty broken, but when are you going to end up farming an Aghanims on your Centaur? So, I mean, he farms decently well with Double Edge, but it's really not too realistic in a practical sense. It's definitely very nice on paper. But yeah, it's certainly a possibility, and if you can set up a hoof stomp onto the Queen of Pain, she's probably going to die more often than not with all the burst damage available. They are going to deal with this Queen of Pain, though, Ice is. With that Ancient Seal coming out from this Skywrath Mage, they should be able to blow her up very easily. Fisher, Ancient Seal, 1 or 2 raises, and early on for sure that's a dead Queen of Pain. So Ice definitely have ways to deal with the Cop, although the Space Creation is already being mounted from Mineski with the Spirit Breaker coming out. So the Queen of Pain can sit back a little bit more, use that blink aggressively once the scenario is a little bit advantageous. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who gets the better end of that trade.
Yeah, Spirit Breaker is definitely the sort of hero to just go in and create the chaos in the front lines there. But Mineski do go for a Lion, so that's going to be their support. It's never going to be a bad support. The skill set is just so great. You have great amounts of lockdown. Awesome burst coming out from the Finger of Death, of course, as well. But Team Ice now, they have the 2 supports unless it's going to be like a core Earthshaker or a Skywrath Mage. Both have been played in the role, but I doubt either of them will be in the core role this game.
Yeah, Lion is also somewhat of a pick ban. I mean, that would have forced Ice into a core or Skywrath or Shaker, which is definitely less common. But Lion's so nice up against the Spirit Breaker with the instant Hex there. Does combo up pretty well with all 3 of the heroes thus far. There's a lot of synergy here in terms of the initiation ability. Definitely Lion, an innate, very good Blink Dagger builder. So a lot of burst already available to Mineski. Some squishier heroes on Ice's side. Skywrath a little bit more squishy to physical damage than he is to magical, but both will get the job done. And so the Skywrath is going to have to be protected here. So look for some space creation from Ice, and they are going to go in the direction that you chose in the Centaur here. So we'll see how this works out. A little bit of a throwback combo, Skywrath Mage Centaur from a couple patches ago.
It's still as deadly as it has ever been, almost. Well, maybe not as deadly, just because Skywrath Mage's Mystic Flare has been nerfed, of course, a couple of times even. But Mineski now going towards a Phantom Lancer for themselves, so that is the hero they chose to go for the super later stages of the game. But of course Phantom Lancer can start fighting rather early on with just Spirit Lance, going for the Doppelganger, and of course the charge that he has as well there. But it should be a rather interesting game. Team Ice, as most often with like Centaur type lineups, you have to get the Blink Dagger to really just get the ball rolling.
Yeah, and the Doppelganger will keep PL safe more often than not from that Hoof Stomp. He can generally get that cast off before the Hoof Stomp comes out. So PL certainly a nice pickup here. They do have the Echo Slam to deal with the illusions, but other than that, not too much AoE coming out from Ice. The raises and the Double Edge will be okay, but they're pretty much easily dodgeable more often than not. So I like the illusion-based carry coming out here from Mineski. I think it can do a lot of work, especially against some of these squishier supports like the Skywrath Mage. He's more or less food for the PL if he gets a Diffusal Blade at any point.
That's why Skywrath Mage needs to build a Mjolnir for himself, man. Easy. I'm not too sure if we were ever gonna see a point where Skywrath Mage runs around with a Mjolnir, though.
Yeah.
That would be something. That would probably be like, I don't know, Hand of Midas.
He's got some pretty poor base damage, so I don't know how effective it would be, but yeah, I mean, Mjolnir or Maelstrom at all, not the greatest item for SF either, so once these illusions start to get some raw HP, pick up a Heart, I don't know that Ice can deal with them. I think Heart certainly thus far is much better than Butterfly is. Shadow Fiend, not the scariest right clicker, especially deep into the game once you're able to pick up that Butterfly, but they will pick up a very strong right click with the Cleave as well in Sven. So instant counter pick towards this PL. Haven't seen much of Sven all that lately. Don't know how well he can do here, but they definitely do have the Stampede to avoid him getting kited around.
It's definitely going to help out a tiny bit there. Other than that, maybe not the most amount of stuns, but between the Centaur's Hoof Stomp, Sven's own stun, the Stormhammer, and the Earthshaker, I suppose it's gonna be fine. But as for Mineski, last pick, it is gonna be a Bounty Hunter. And by the way, at least with which player is picking up what hero, it's gonna be a support one.
Yeah, it seems like it is. Jesse Vash definitely usually taking towards the off lane, and Cuckoo towards that mid. So yeah, support BH, not too bad. I mean, there's no designated jungler from the side of Ice, but certainly Earthshaker is going to be roaming, so Bounty Hunter can certainly do the same, look to garner an advantage in his lanes, and they're not going to lose too much relative to what Ice does. So I don't mind the pick here. The extra vision from Track certainly nice, as well as the gold bonus there. So it can certainly work out. At the same time, with the Ancient Seal and all this right click, Bounty needs to be careful not to overextend, and they have to keep good vision up for him.
Indeed, they will have to do so, but it's now a Spirit Breaker and Bounty Hunter combination to roam around. It's definitely somewhat scary, and Ice's supports are probably going to have their hands full in just trying to deal with those as well. But we have already one item we didn't have last game. It's going to be a mango on Paparazzi Sven.
Nice.
Got to get them mangoes going.
Do people not understand how good this item is, honestly?
They, however, haven't purchased a smoke. Usually it's like you get one smoke just to put it on cooldown in the shop.
I mean, Ola has picked it up, as you mentioned, on the support role, but with 2 mangoes start, Bounty Hunter is a very viable offlaner, I feel. I mean, I've played it a lot. Maybe not so much in the pro scene. He's a little bit more punishable, of course, but Ola already going to look to at least get some info on the lanes coming out from Ice. He'll find the defensive tri-lane centered around Paparazzi's Sven here, but needs to be a bit careful. Longer duration level 1 Shadow Walk from a couple patches ago will keep him safe for now, but this Bounty Rune probably going to be the Radiance for now.
So, just to introduce the lineups as well, for the side of Ice on the Radiant, Chestin will be on the Shadow Fiend, leaving Clement on the Skyriff Mage with Paparazzi on the Sven, B-Boy to be the Earthshaker, and that's gonna leave JJT as the last one on the Centaur Warrunner.
Yep, Mineski up by the top rune. We got Jules in the 1 position on the PL. That's Cuckoo on the Queen of Pain. It leaves Geo, or G, on the Lion, and over towards that offlane, Jesse Vash picking up the Spirit Breaker, and he's going to be accompanied by Owa, or 5593 on the Bounty Hunter. Aren't tournaments, like real tournaments, great, where all the players have their actual names up?
Yeah, it's
so
just
nice.
The Dota TV does the trick for you for the most part already, of course. And non-Dota TV tournaments, yeah, they're just a pain for the most part. Sometimes, or some teams at least, are nice enough to change all of their names, but even then there's like always the odd man out there as well.
Jesse Vash mid lane, postured up behind the Shadow Fiend. He is going to go for the charge, but B-Boy has the Fisher here to stop this. He's going to be a little late on the Fisher, but should be able to block out the Spirit Breaker now. And they're just going to try and secure a little advantage for Cuckoo. Pretty good early last hit for the Queen of Pain. So should be able to grab up a couple here. Jesse Vash looking just to secure a little bit of farm for Cuckoo. Looks like to swapped out with the Bounty Hunter in terms of roles here. Sentry going to be dropped bottom lane, but Oa should be able to bring this down. He's going to catch an Arcane Bolt, though, and will have to back off, and therefore is Sentry going to be the first one to go down.
By the way, the weapon on Sven, it's like, it's not sharp or anything. It's just a straight out smashing tool.
Instrument. Certainly is.
Sven's
It hurts.
nice, man.
Yeah, he can get very beefy in this one. I feel like BKB is not the greatest item in this game, but certainly up against the Diffusal Blade that's going to come out versus the PL. It's probably something he wants to go. They do have the Stampede, as I mentioned earlier, to avoid him getting kited around. But if he's going to build that Mask of Madness, definitely wants the BKB to cover himself there. They do have the Queen of Pain's pure damage, but Cuckoo's not going to be enough on his own to bring down this event.
So at the moment in the mid lane, it looks like just the early 1 charge coming in from the Spirit Breaker has kind of messed around with the momentum of the Shadow Fiend, because he had 3 last hits before the charge came. Now though, only has been able to get 1 extra last hit plus 1 deny on top of that. Whereas Queen of Pain just having a good old time as B-Boy. Gets a regeneration rune, doesn't get any value out of it, but at least denies it to Owa at the same time.
Yeah, Owa has opted to put a point into stats. This is kind of odd to see early on. Maybe allows him to get off a couple of more Shadow Walks, but yeah,
I just cannot justify going for stats over.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Feels a bit
mid lane.
weird, but
They catch a raise, but the fish are going to be held onto for now by B-Boy. Charge is going to come through onto Justin as well. He's getting pretty low. There can be a blink forward into a scream here, and it will be dropped. The Fisher is there. Might be a little bit late. Justin is going to fall. First blood goes the way of Mineski. And the Filipino squad going to garner a little bit of an advantage here. Yeah, it's got to be really odd. The power of Shuriken now, that 150 damage nuke at level 1, 375 at level 4 is crazy good, especially bouncing between track targets. So
yeah, it's definitely feeling a little bit weird, but maybe he has a special plan now. He's gonna get stunned though. There's the Stormhammer. Already got a few Arcane Bolts into him, and down he goes with one more Arcane Bolt. There was really no escaping once that dust already came out.
yeah, and well played by Ice to keep the vision on them, knowing that mid lane was just aggressed upon. The Spirit Breaker not going to have the charge to come through and defend his comrade, and they will bring him down. It's going to give a lot of farm under the tower over to Jesse Vash, though. He'll pick up his level 3 here easily, and already Oa's back towards this mid lane. Looks like a dual lane here. Earthshaker and either the Bounty or the Spirit Breaker pretty much been roaming here. As you mentioned, Justin a little bit behind from those early rotations from the Dire side. Only 9 CS to his name at this point.
Yeah, just a little bit sad of a time, but there are going to be stacks going on. Already a double stack, at least in the big camp. Expect the stacks to just start increasing in size as well as the Earthshaker maybe roams around a little bit more. Maybe it's going to be the Skywrath. Of course, Skywrath without boots, maybe not going to be as fast as he would like to, but we do have a double damage now bottled up by Queen of Pain, although Oa has made his way top lane, has himself that Jinada as well if they want to initiate on JJT.
He is going to drop it. The Impale can come through, but Jules a little bit low on mana on the PL. Did have enough for one Lance. Maybe they look to bring it down. Charge going to come through, though, mid lane. Jesse Vash out onto Justin as well. Earthshaker waiting in the winds. And the jump forward from Cuckoo is going to catch in close range. Fisher will hit onto 2. Justin is going to be brought low. The big bash onto B-Boy, though, will secure the kill on at least the Earthshaker. And the bottle charge is going to be missed. Shadow Strike will tick down the SF here. That is rough.
That's just... I thought it's actually safe. I was pretty sure it's going to survive, but Shadow Strike is level 2, so just getting that extra little bit of damage there.
He had one bottle charge and he mistimed it like right before the tick.
You had one job! One job. Oh, so a great start for Mineski. They have their Queen of Pain. Well, semi-snowballing level 5, or 5 minutes in, level 6 already has quite a bit of gold for himself with 3 kills to his name. And of course Phantom Lancer just free farming safe lane.
Yeah, and Sonic Wave hasn't been used yet as well. Skywrath definitely an easy target for this Queen of Pain if she's able to get the jump. Charge going to come out top lane onto JJT. And he's going to have to look to back out. Oa maybe looks to slow him, but Jesse probably just going to use this to get out of base and into the river.
So I think Cuckoo, once she hits level 7, gets the level 3 Scream of Pain, may be the point when she goes on the aggressive with the Sonic Wave of hers. Oh, never mind, top lane. They get the kill on center anyway. So I looked away, I thought he backed out enough, but now there's the stun onto Cuckoo, might go down, gets the Sonic Wave kill beforehand though, and now Blink on cooldown, Concussive Shot to slow him, one more Arcane Bolt, and finally is gonna just get the punishment from his kills, and well, Skyriff Mage gets quite a bit out of it, both XP and gold wise.
Yeah, the ES picks up a nice chunk of EXP too. It's nice for the Radiant supports there, but already 3 deaths onto their Shadow Fiend is going to be really scary for Justin. It keeps dropping his souls very low, and he can't look to right-click up in this lane. There's just way too much aggression in his face, and the Queen of Pain easily out right-clicking him there. So JJT going to be
level
zoned
difference.
out. Yeah. It's
he's almost getting doubled up at the moment.
Yeah, it's very scary for this SF early on. He's going to farm up this stack, but it's only 2 at the moment. The Earthshakers had to be in lane so often to defend against these charges that he really hasn't been able to stack the jungle. The Sven is doing well, but elsewhere, looks like Ice is just getting stomped across the map. Top lane, Oa going to drop a deep lane ward. And maybe they look to go in on JJT here. The Lance is going to come through, but they don't have the Lion nearby, so can't aggress underneath this tower.
Center after all is pretty damn tanky just to begin with. Also poor man's shield there helping out against any kind of physical incoming damage, especially up against the illusions. But for now, 7 minutes in, Mineski are looking good, but Ice, they definitely have room to recover for now. Just before like Bounty Hunter hits level 6, but if Mineski keep on with this pace while Bounty Hunter is level 6 already, then that is where things become carried. Oh, quarter snipe.
Oh, wow. Smart play from the Radiant. Oh, no. He's just going to pick up the bottle and die. And it's even slower with the empty bottle now. So easy kill for Oa. May end up feeding his life for it, but certainly well worth it with the bottle on it. And there's not even going to be a reaction from B-Boy. They're just going to accept its fate. And both these supports in the mid lane. Mineski playing very smart right now. Lying up in the jungle. Jesse Vash playing cautiously bot lane, seeing these supports missing. And meanwhile, Cuckoo just free farming, not worried about too much on the Queen of Pain. And hasn't been aggressed on. There's no Ancient Seal coming out. It is level 2, but just the range to get in close on that Queen of Pain. Not quite there with only the Fisher being at level 2 for B-Boy. So
for Team Ice, it's just trying to buckle down now, kind of stabilize, get a little bit of farm going. But Cuckoo blinks forward aggressively, gets stunned up before he gets to kill Stampede as well, but he cannot go close. He gets charged mid Stampede there, although Jesse Vash gets stunned under the tower from the Stormhammer. Paparazzi wants to keep on going, but another charge coming in. There's the Fisher, but not enough damage with the low levels that B-Boy has. With the haste rune, he might make it out himself, although Scream of Pain, and yeah, he goes down as well. Cuckoo, one more arcane bolt brings him low, but not enough to just be lethal with Geo. Finishing up Chestin, though it doesn't have the Requiem of Souls, of course, because he's so low leveled. Fisher does end up killing the Queen of Pain there, so they get something in the end, but B-Boy had to buy back for this.
Yeah. It's worth a buyback just because of how much experience this Queen of Pain is giving at this point, and they definitely want to bring her down and try and stifle the snowball, but already 6-2 on the Queen of Pain. Jesse Vash jumping a little bit forward there. Earn is able to net him the kill on the Centaur, but does die underneath the tower, else that goes even better than it did for Mineski, and there Sven had to commit over to that fight as well, so they don't even have anyone farming off to the side for the Radiant side.
So, if you're Ice at the moment, do you consider getting a Blink Dagger also on the Sven, or do you start building like actual damage or fighting items from the start?
I almost kind of want to see a Midas. I mean, I know they're against the PL, but their SF is doing so poorly that I don't know that they can continue to fight at this timing window. I mean, you are going to see Mineski cue the aggression, Blink, Queen of Pain, Shadow Walk there to scout things out for the Bounty Hunter and the Spirit Breaker, of course, but I feel like maybe just that secured farm is a little more valuable to this Sven right now. You are going to see the aggression queued up by Mineski. Everyone has totally vacated the bot lane, and Jules is in trouble top lane. He's going to doppelganger a little bit early. Fisher will be there as well. Stampede, though, they're going to be on the wrong side of the Fisher, and Jules going to be just fine here. Little bit of a misplay from B-Boy, and the carry from Mineski is going to make it out scot-free as well. They're going to continue to push in this tier 1 bot lane. Phantom Lance, or Spirit Lance goes out onto JJT. They're going to get the Impale as well. Mana draining up the Centaur, but he has enough for the Stomp. The Ancient Seal, Mystic Flare will be there as well. Jules getting very low, but he is going to bottle up. Will drop. The Centaur goes down almost simultaneously, and the two supports left to battle it out. Paparazzi going to come through. The charge is coming through from Vash, but it's all the way on the east side of the map. Geo going to go down as well. Sonic Wave is up in 6 seconds. And with the charge vision still onto Klee, they should be able to bring down this Skywrath Mage. Paparazzi pop the God Strength, is trying to go in with B-Boy there as well. Oa trapped in, or pincered into the tree, but the charge comes through. Stormbolt going to hit onto 3. Echo Slam is there as well. Fisher, Paparazzi right-clicking with the God Strength is doing work. Jesse Vash able to get away with the move speed from the Empowering Haste, but either way, great exchange going there for Ice, and a little bit too drawn out from Mineski.
That was like one of the best Stormhammers you can ask for. Although Paparazzi gets charged in with the Warcry, he has plenty of tankiness to himself. But that Stormhammer, it wasn't like the greatest Stormhammer to begin with, but the Bounty Hunter ran into 2 other heroes with it.
Yeah.
That's like... his teammates must not be feeling too happy about that situation.
Yeah, and the Earthshaker for B-Boy just recently picked up the 6, so I feel like that buyback very much so worth it. Bringing down that Queen of Pain top lane. Charge out onto Justin. Stampede was going to be used, but duration is a little bit low, him being stunned there. Either way, he's able to turn it with the Centaur and force Jesse Vash back as the support was a little bit too late inbound. Oa going to look to scout things out. Does have his track available as well. Smoke was just popped from the Radiant side. They're going to choose wisely and go west. Else it would have been broken by this Bounty Hunter. Paparazzi going to run into Jules in the river. He'll pick up the Bounty Rune and back off the PL. Still under the cover of smoke is the Skywrath. JJT, feel like he had his briefly popped there by Cuckoo on the Queen of Pain, who is going to pick up a Haste Rune bottom, and it looks like the Dire are just going to be content to force in this tier 1 on the safe lane.
Yeah, they should be able to quite easily get it as long as they have all their ultimates up, which of course they do. And with those, it's so easy to land kills. Sonic Wave, Finger of Death as well. That's like one hero down, any hero on the map almost. Sven may be able to survive that, but of course more spells will be following, like just Scream of Pain for example there. They even have just a Bounty Hunter with the Shadow Walk, which is still only level 1. But for scouting purposes it's gonna be fine. And with the Arcane Boots, he has plenty of mana to just sustain it. But we do have a Blink picked up on Paparazzi, so they themselves want to just crank up the aggression a bit.
Yeah, Lance is going to go out mid on to Justin. Doppelganger back on the Jules. The charge is going to be cancelled from Vash. And everyone going to be able to get themselves out of danger for Ice's side. The tier 1 does go down in the mid lane. And the Shadow Fiend picks up the last hit there. But Queen of Pain just picked up that tier 1 in the bot lane. So fairly even trade all around. But Ice a little bit more happy with this than Mineski is. Not able to secure anything off their advantage. And Paparazzi up in the top lane. Farming did opt for that Blink Dagger as you mentioned. So he is going to be able to jump himself into the fight. Maybe kill off that Queen of Pain Stormbolt with the God Strength. And one Ancient Seal is a definite dead Queen of Pain. More often than not, she's going to need a lot of support. But no BKB on this Sven still leaves him pretty susceptible to what the Lion has to counter initiate.
Top lane now, the smoke was already broken by Geo there. They pop a dust, but it was just a really fortunate positioning from the Lion breaking the smoke like that. They probably thought it's gonna be the Bounty Hunter instead, so just a rather huge rotation plus a dust wasted.
Yeah, that's 2 smokes and about as many minutes wasted from Ice, so, you know, taking a look for them. They're going to have to at least stifle some of their aggression for the next little bit. 4.5 minutes with smoke on the sideline for their side. So they are going to have to look to find some farm. Their Sven has been able to do pretty admirably well, and the recovery from the Shadow Fiend has been excellent coming out of that mid lane. He's got 78 CS at this point despite the 3 deaths. Is closing in on his mechanism, so that will allow them to continue to team fight here. Something we mentioned a couple minutes ago that they weren't really able to do.
So if we look at the graphs, it has a little bit stagnated here at about like 2.5, 3k net worth lead for Mineski. XP though is, well, for all intents and purposes, zeroed out at the moment. So Ice, they have stabilized for now at least, getting a little bit of farm for themselves. Of course with the Blink Dagger it's not really increasing the Sven's farm speed, which maybe isn't the greatest thing for their team. But their priority now should be just getting the Blink on the center. It's already delayed by quite a bit and he's not even halfway there.
Yeah, he is quite a ways away, and that's perhaps why they have to give Paparazzi a Blink Dagger of his own, at least for the time being. But they are going to group up top lane, and the mech is on the way for Justin. Mana Boots are going to keep him with a decent enough pool to pop it once it's delivered out. JJT is going to keep watch on the courier as well, and it doesn't look like Mineski are too willing to drop into this engagement. They do have TPs available on 4 of their heroes at this point. Jesse Vash does have the charge, and he's the one without the TP, so they can mount a defense top lane, but it looks like maybe they want to find a pick mid. Shuriken and the track go out on to B-Boy. Their charge is going to come forward. Mass TPs come through, though. The Stampede is going to be a little late for the Earthshaker. Mystic Flare is going to go out, though, and Jesse Vash, he's going to melt way too deep behind enemy lines, and now Ice looking to find more. Do have the Blink Dagger on Paparazzi, but they'll just clean up mid lane, and Geo going to be able to TP out into the tree line. Meanwhile, Jules doing a little bit of split pushing on the PL, has brought about half the HP down of this bot tower. He does have the Doppelganger, and the TP should be just fine to bring himself out of this one, and has his first Blade of Alacrity towards his Diffusal Blade.
Do you think it's going to be a straight up Diffusal Blade, or might he go for like a Yasha first?
He could. I think the Diffusal Blade is awesome in this match. There's so many mana dry heroes, like the Shadow Fiend is especially building into a mech. A couple right clicks from the Diffusal and it's like you can no longer, you know, you choose between a Requiem or a mech. You can no longer sustain having both, even with the treads. So I really like that item here. Shadow Fiend not necessarily extremely mobile either, and neither is really the Skywrath, so I don't mind the Diffusal. The Yasha could be a build too. I mean, Manta Style, always a great item for Jules, but up against the Cleave, feel like the effective damage from the Diffusal a little bit more worth it here. May allow him to get some picks as well. JJT, no Stampede for 15 seconds mid lane. Can't look to jump in on Jules yet. The charge is going to come through onto the Skywrath Mage's track out onto the Earthshaker as well, but Mystic Flare and the Stomp is going to be there onto Jesse Vash. Once again, he's going to melt Stormbolt. Going to be there to finish him off. And Paparazzi does pick up the kill there. Oa was in sentry range for a moment and was able to get out. Jules,
yeah, with the haste, he's gonna be fine. Although B-Boy takes a bit of damage. If Kuku wants to jump back in with a Sonic Wave, might be an easy kill. The Tractor will wear off on him. So may not even be worth it, although just a Spirit lands, but Blink Dodge from Paparazzi.
Yeah, nice way from Paparazzi. Just maybe trying to give them vision with that illusion for the Queen of Pain to jump in, but he'll disjoint it. G has found some space in the top lane. Is level 9 on the Lion now and does have 1700 gold, so gonna find that blink fairly soon. The mid lane tower was denied by the Sven, so Jules not able to secure that even with the haste rune, but either way they do get a little bit of map control back after losing their tier 1, and giving the Lion some space isn't too bad considering only they lose one in Jesse Vash mid lane, but that's a couple times in a row now. Spirit Breaker a little too overzealous and the support not there quickly enough to save him.
So item progression wise, we have the Orchid. And Jesse Vash going towards the BKB probably. Oh, Geo, rather close to his blink as well, 1700 in the back. Yep, B-Boy has the exact same amount of gold. It's actually uncanny how close they are to each other, like a 10 gold difference or so. But with the center blink finally coming out, especially if they're gonna get like a good fight for themselves now, with B-Boy surviving, that's gonna be the blink on Earthshaker as well. That's gonna be triple blink initiation they have to work with.
Yeah, and the one thing too is when you jump in for the Orchid for the Queen of Pain, you need to damage as well with all these blink beggars being available to ice, else they can just blink out, waste your Orchid cooldown and look to reset and jump back in with the Stampede. So she's gonna have to get that Scream of Pain off as well. And bot lane, her and Oa, Cuckoo and Oa looking for blood. They're not gonna find anyone though, and their Dire Ward here is gonna expire as well, so they have really no information as to what is going on. They're gonna check Roshan, not gonna find anyone. Top lane, Shadow Fiend trying to bait Jesse Vash is going to be charging towards that bot lane, and maybe they'll look to jump into Roshan, knowing that most of the lineup now did reveal themselves near the wave on their top lane for the Dire.
So for Mineski, are there like any more items they're waiting for? Maybe it's the Diffusal Blade to be finished, since he's pretty close to it after all. Same with the Lion Blink Dagger, but once they get those, they should be just rather ready to fight. I mean, why else just pick a bounty hunter when you don't plan on fighting?
Yeah, I mean, the Lion Blink is kind of the big one, I feel. The Diffusal Blade is nice, and it will be out soon as well, but that'll be there eventually regardless. The Lion Blink does come out, and now they're going to be able to push the tier 2. Both teams going to trade tier 2s. I would like to see the BKB on the Spirit Breaker, but Jesse Vash quite a ways away from that at this point, and he's only level 9 on the Spirit Breaker after the last couple minutes going pretty poorly for him. God's Strength going to be popped, though, top lane. Track's going to come out onto the center. Paparazzi jumping up in the top line, or in the front lines. Doesn't have his blink available, but the charge is going to be canceled. Jump forward, though. Impale only onto one from G, but they blow up the Sven with the Sonic Wave. Cuckoo going to be the next to fall, though, under the Mystic Flare. Echo Slam going to be the nail in the coffin there. Oa still chasing forward with the track. Double Edge is going to bring the Centaur low, and he'll be brought down. Jesse Vash with the Bass coming through onto B-Boy, and Justin left by his lonesome now. Diffusal Blade leaves him completely out of mana, and he'll fall. Death Requiem not enough to do much, and Cuckoo the only one dying from Mineski's side. 5-man wipe from Ice, and it's a little overconfident from them, leaving their Sven up on the high ground like that.
A little. That was just kind of suicidal there as well. Although God's Strength, yes, you can deal a lot of damage, but you don't have a BKB yet. Neither do you have extra attack speed from when you usually play together with an IO, for example, or at least maybe have a Hyperstone towards an AC or something like that.
Right.
They didn't even get that much damage done to the tier 3, to be honest. Well, it's down to about half, but considering what it took for them to get it down to half, it's just not worth it. Not by a long shot. Not only do they lose the fight and lose a couple of heroes, or well, all of their heroes. Also, I think they were at least, at the minimum, 3 track kills there.
Yeah, certainly a lot of gold influx going Mineski's way, and as you mentioned, they pretty much get nothing for it for the Radiant side. 50% damage on a tier 3 is really not going to mean boo going forward in this one, and they lose a lot towards the item progression of Paparazzi as well. You mentioned it, he didn't have a BKB there. He's going to have 1800 gold, but pretty much needs the entire recipe. About 1100 gold still needed for him to pick up that BKB, and now they're not necessarily in great fighting shape for the side of Ice, with those couple of items coming out from Mineski. The reveal of the Blink Dagger from Geo is enough to net them the kill onto Paparazzi, and now look at the deep vision coming out from the Dire side. They have a lot of information, and they're going to look to jump forward and continue to choke out Ice from this map.
Of course, that's probably the best decision for them as well. Just they have the better mobility in their lineup in general, although yes, there are quite a couple of Blink Daggers on Ice as well. They are usually just forced to use it a little bit more reactively, whereas Mineski, they're just setting up ganks with the invis of the Bounty Hunter, the charge coming in from Jesse Vash's Spirit Breaker. At the moment though, Cuckoo That's kind of a weird hero to just farm Ancients with, I guess, on the Queen of Pain, but you need gold, so you've got to find farm somewhere.
Yeah, Yasha comes out, as you mentioned earlier, for the PL now, so Jules going to be building into that Manta early. We mentioned in the draft a little bit of a lack of AoE before that Sven came out for the 5th pick, so they don't have the greatest ways to deal with the illusions, and Manta always a great item on PL. The little bit of extra move speed, as we mentioned, gonna help him catch up to some of these sluggish heroes when the Stampede is down. But Justin's picked up his BKB, and that's the cue for aggression for Ice here. Shadow Fiend does have that magic immunity now. Maybe they're able to find this Queen of Pain in the top lane, but Cuckoo has some good game sense. Not seeing anyone on the map, especially considering the deep vision from the Dire side, does know there's a movement being committed by Ice, and is going to be able to barely blink out in time here to the east.
For a second I thought B-Boy may actually be able to just guess the direction of the Queen of Pain, jump on her, just fish her, enchant out, and maybe even Echo Slam if you need more stuns, but
yeah,
they're not going to find anybody, and nobody's really farming either. Shadow Fiend does clean up a creep wave now, but after the last push, do they really want to go high ground again?
Yeah, this is a little bit rough. They have the BKB now, so maybe they put the Shadow Fiend on the high ground instead. Does have the mech as well, but I mean, they do have the Blink Echo, which is certainly nice if they look to converge on one target as they did last time, but it's still certainly very risky. There's no real advantage for Ice here. They have no Aegis. TP is going to be canceled, though, by 1, and if they're able to see that, it doesn't matter really, actually. The whole 5-man lineup is nearby. Doppelganger used here by Jules. Is level 3, though, so pretty short cooldown. And he'll be just fine to jump back into this one. It's going to be odd to see Ice go in here. They are going to have most of their lineup tracked up. 3 heroes currently tracked up, and they're going to opt to back out. And I think it's a wise decision at this point.
Oh, the track cooldown change was just such a good buff for the Bounty Hunter. Of course, it was already in 6.83, I do believe, but now the hero is just still a little bit stronger with the Shuriken Toss now, but I'm not even too sure like what Ice do. They're trying to do something, they're just brainstorming themselves, like trying to make things happen, forcing or just trying to force Mineski into doing or making mistakes. But Mineski just not taking the bait. They keep on farming their own way, although Shadow Fiend has been farming faster, but Shadow Fiend really has been the only one on Ice's side to clean up the creep waves.
Yeah, Bounty's going to be scouted, though. He'll be the sacrificial lamb for Mineski. Don't know that this really can queue a push, though, for the Radiant side. He will be able to mech up. A little bit of an odd build on a Bounty, but did pick out for this team. The mech is down now for Mineski's side, and it looks like Ice do want to go high ground off of this. 35 seconds on the sideline for the Bounty Hunter. Does have the buyback available, though, but nothing really of importance expended here from Ice. So they do still have their full toolkit available, and Cuckoo does have a TP. So does Jules, so they can look to mount a defense, but they're going to get some free right-click damage on this tier 3. They'll pop the glyph as well. BKB going to be popped by Jesse Vash, but his Nether Strike is going to be disjointed by the Paparazzi Blink, and that's his 10-second BKB completely wasted, and now Ice able to bring down that tier 3 and maybe go for more. The Bounty Hunter, though, is respawning in 5, and they will have the full lineup. Charge forward. There's the Blink and the Impale Finger of Death. B-Boy going to be dropped with the charge and the Sonic Wave. Geo has been isolated with Paparazzi, but he'll be able to hex up the Centaur. Nether Strike comes through, and they'll finish off the Sven. Spirit Breaker is going to be dropped by the Double Edge and a Raise, but Klee going to be dropped down behind an optimistic TP, and JJ going to go for one as well. Shuriken Mini Stun going to be there. Justin going to die as well. That's a track kill. 5 down. Same story. 5 for 1. Mineski over Ice in the top lane.
Man, just those fights are going way too bad, and it was once again Sven just not having the BKB. He was so close to it as well. I think before dying he needed like maybe 300 gold for it, maybe 400 at max, but for some reason they just didn't take that farm to, or take the time to farm that one up. It feels extremely weird, just a little bit too forced from Team Ice's side, in all honesty. And with this Mineski, I mean, you could see that Shadow Fiend was catching up to the Queen of Pain and Phantom Lancer. Now suddenly there's about a 2k difference once again.
Yeah, and Geo has just been really on point with his initiations on this Lion. We mentioned it 5 to 10 minutes ago that it's really going to be the point where Mineski looks to aggress is when the Lion picks up that Blink, but Ice has kind of given them the scenarios to do so, and they're going to jump into the Roche Pit off the back of a few of these deaths. They don't have the damage immediately. They are going to have to wait for Jules to jump in. Also, PL, not the greatest Roshing carry, but actually they're just going to leave him top lane to bait out, and he's going to force rotations over to defend up this tier 1, and that's going to give an easy Roshan over to the Dire side. Well played, good movement from them.
So Phantom Lancer having quite a bit of gold at his disposal. You already said earlier that you would prefer Heart of Tarask, for example, in this game over like maybe a Butterfly. Yeah. Although then again, that was probably before the Sven pickup in the draft, but do you still think Heart for him?
Yeah, I still love the pickup. I think maybe he even goes for an Abyssal before then. But yeah, it looks like Manta is going to be the immediate choice for Jules, as is expected. I don't mind the Abyssal here because I think BKBs are going to be so crucial, as you mentioned in the last couple team fights to the side of Ice. But Justin is going to be spotted out here. G's going to jump forward with the Hex. Finger of Death is there. Stampede going to keep him safe. Cuckoo going to get fissured up. Mystic Flare, Stomp, but is pretty damn takey on this Queen of Pain with the BKB and doesn't even have to pop it. Jesse Vash going to jump head forward into the lineup of Ice, and the Sonic Wave will be there. They'll bring down the Earthshaker. And it's just a 1-0 right now. Klee and JJT going to be able to TP out, but a lot expended there from Ice. Stampede going to have to use, and the track is still up on this Shadow Fiend, and now the charge has given them vision. They do have this tier 1 to TP to, but everyone has already TP'd back to base, and they can't be able to defend up against their Shadow Fiend. Justin is going to have his BKB pop. No Nether Strike available for this Spirit Breaker. They will end up being aggressed on by this Sven as well. Cuckoo going to have his Aegis pop. He's going to jump forward, looking to bring down the Shadow Fiend. Will be able to do so. Does pop his BKB, but needs that blink to get out, and will be able to do so. Mystic Flare going to be popped optimistically by this Skywrath, and overall they do get that Shadow Fiend down. It cost them their Aegis, but certainly is nice to bring down Justin once again. They're going to charge forward, actually just down towards the bot lane, and Jesse Vash just going to look to keep these lanes pushed in.
So it's just, it being a track kill, once again made it in the favor of Mineski there. Of course, in general it's better anyway. I mean, you're trading a bounty hunter who more or less started in like a off-lane / support role, I guess.
Yeah.
For a Shadow Fiend, who is the main farmer at the moment for Team Ice, and by quite a long margin. We do have a BKB now, finally, on Paparazzi as top lane Jules. Just TP's out in front of Ice, but will this Sven BKB make a difference, or is it a little bit too late?
I think it makes a pretty big difference, but he doesn't have enough damage that the BKB will turn the fight for him. It certainly will allow him to survive a lot longer, but yeah, I mean, Sonic Wave is level 3. It is pure damage at this point, so that's already a decent chunk of his health, just around a third being taken in one fell swoop. So yeah, it's definitely the necessary item for Paparazzi, but it doesn't even have that level 3 God Strength, so I don't feel like it's going to turn the tides for his team. He'll definitely be alive longer, but yeah, I don't know if it's a game-winning item at this point. 1,500 gold already up onto Jules, and we see in the top lane again for the second time in the game, B-Boy's Fissure a little bit wayward, and it actually blocks him and his Centaur off from killing Jules, who did have himself catching an Echo Slam and almost being finished off there, but Fissure actually saving his life, allowing him to TP out.
Yeah, that's just the downsides of a Earthshaker in general, just going with the Fissure like that. It's way better to use an Earthshaker to like use blocking Fissures rather than like in a straight line to just stun them, just because it does just throw them to the wrong side every so often. But they are grouped up once more. They aren't smoked, but still able to just get a couple of wards down. And they have a regeneration rune on Paparazzi if he wants to use it, get back to full health, maybe. But then again, Mineski, they're also somewhat grouped up. Owa, of course, scouting with the Skeleton Walk. Roshan, though, it's not going to be coming up anytime soon. But I really like the Bounty Hunter has picked up the Morbid Mask, and hopefully it's going to be the Vladimir's for him.
Yeah, it will be the Vlad's for him. He's picked up the Guardian Greaves as well. Pretty nice item to have on who otherwise is not the tankiest hero for this Bounty Hunter. Generally just a great support item as well. And as you mentioned, him straddling between the 3 and the 4 role does have just enough farm to pick that up. And will have the Vlads on top of it. So really buffing his team as much as is needed, and with the Glimmer Cape up on the line as well, we really seen these supports be alive for most of these engagements, and they've been able to do a lot of work setting up for their other members of the team. Even Jules, we really haven't seen much of the Phantom Lancer thus far because his team is just getting it done without him, and he's been able to quietly hit critical mass here. 2,500 gold in addition to his Manta and his Diffusal.
Yeah, they're going to take it slow. They were closing in on the enemy base, but just backed off themselves. They're just probably going to take it slow, farm up, then go for the next Roshan, and with the next stage maybe make a little bit of a bigger movement. Cuckoo now, I mean, even has an Ag enemies, but this Orchid, for example, I think she's only been able to like use it twice, and both of them in the team fights that happened at the top racks.
it's still nice to have versus the Skywrath and the Earthshaker. Of course, the BKBs up on the cores are going to mean she's not able to use it more often than not. Stampede has almost always been used reactively in this one, so Orchid on the Centaur isn't going to do too much work, but certainly keeping that Skywrath down will allow her to get around without being Ancient Sealed up, and the Aghanim Scepter being on top of that Orchid pretty much kills off Klee's Skywrath. Gems have been purchased on both sides of the field now, so this is a little bit dangerous. Jump forward, though. G's going to get caught out on the high ground. Stomp Mystic Flare, and there's the gem going away from Mineski's side, so 2 gems up on the side of Ice, and that's going to be a big pick-off for them, but they're going to lose their tier 1 to the PL Illusions for it. Denial Attempt is going to be committed and should be there from Ice's side. Paparazzi able to secure that one. Nicely played. But either way, they still do lose that tower. Elsewhere, finding the gem, certainly a nice little sequence for Ice. A little odd to see Mineski not push the envelope here. They did see the BKB come out for the Sven with track, though, so maybe just looking to garner a further advantage. Roshan still not available for them for 2 minutes, so perhaps just waiting for that.
It really feels like Mineski may be taking things a little bit too passive here even, but then again, they have a Phantom Lancer, and it's kind of easy to feel too safe when you have a Phantom Lancer as farmed as he is. Not only that, also it's just Cuckoo and the Queen of Pain already working towards an AC or a Shiva's card. Probably as a Queen of Pain gonna be the Shiva's card rather. But still Sven is getting somewhere, has the Mask of Madness now as well, just extra attack speed, of course, extra damage taken as well, but as long as you have the BKB you should be fine. Justin closing in on a Butterfly. So things aren't looking all that bad for Ice, although they are still behind by about 17,000 net worth as well as XP.
Yeah, Paparazzi does have the Mask of Madness, can look to continue to farm now, but with that Shiva's, he's going to have his attack speed slowed, and he's still going to be pretty damn squishy with that buff up, so I love that item if it does come out for Cuckoo. It's going to be a little bit of a ways away, but as you mentioned, they do have the insurance policy that is the PL, and they have kept vision around the pit for now, at least until that gem from the Radiant side gets near it, so they will see when Roshan... But they should be able to see when Roshan spawns and look to at least mount a defense, if not grab the Aegis for themselves, and then look to go high ground. Heart.
Man, Jules with the heart, that's gonna be a tough nut to crack for Ice.
Yeah, I don't know that they have the damage yet, especially if the Shivas comes out for this Sven, but yeah, he's gonna be almost unkillable, especially the way that these supports have been able to almost have free roam in these engagements. The Glimmer Cape up onto G, and the Guardian Greaves onto the Bounty Hunter as well. It looks like it might be a Halberd coming out for Jesse Vash at some point. He's just holding on to the club in 2,700 gold at this point. Halberd not the greatest up against the BKBs on the other side, and they still are pretty big durations. 10 seconds onto the Sven, 8 seconds on to the SF, but as the game goes later, may get pretty good. They will find a pick-off though, will Ice. G is going to be picked off in that top lane, and with that Radiant Vision, they find an easy kill on the line. Not the most ideal target, but a pick-off nonetheless.
Yeah, it's just Lion the second time around going down, just being solo there like that. But of course Mineski, it's not like they're grouping up at all, although 4 of them are on the bottom side of the map if they want to keep on going. And to be honest, they don't necessarily need the Lion to just keep on poking like at high ground or something.
Yeah.
Probably not a full committal, but just a little bit of damage done.
Yeah, Cuckoo already sitting high ground. He's forced out the Glyph, and that's certainly a win for the Dire side, being 4v5 at this point. So they can look to mount up, go for Roche, and then look to go high ground, secure in the fact that this Glyph is now down for the next little while. I feel like someone's getting flamed in team chat for that pop, but either way, that's 4.5 minutes now, still remaining on that Glyph, and Oa scouted out Roshan, so Mineski can look to go for it, albeit the gem is on Ice's side, so they may be a little bit worried about the vision established, but they do have the sentry near the pit as well as that high ground ward there, and that's going to keep them safe enough to jump in here. They've already pinged out Justin in the top lane, so they do know this Roshan is theirs for the taking.
So with the Aegis, is it still gonna go to Jules, or is just Jules tanky enough as it is? Maybe give it to Jesse Vash or like Bounty Hunter to just scout in the front lines, or quite possibly even Cuckoo in the Queen.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind the Queen of Pain taking it. They are going to give it over to Jules, I guess. As hard as he is to kill 1 time, 2 times is exponentially harder. But yeah, I wouldn't have minded them giving it away. I mean, I don't see Jules going down in these engagements unless they hit a massive Echo Slam and Mystic Flare on top of the Centaur. It's going to be really tough to bring down this PL. With the Doppelganger available to them, I don't see them getting their full toolkit out. And that is what the Radiant side is going to need to bring down this PL. Meanwhile, Jesse Vash, 3,500 gold. Has the BKB top lane. Needs to be a little bit careful, though. Jump forward, force, Echo Slam, and the Stomp. Mystic Flare, Cuckoo going down. And Jesse Vash soon to follow. Beautiful play by Ice, and they do get their full toolkit out onto those two cores. But Jules still going to be safe with the Aegis. And the bot lane being pushed in by Oa is going to force at least 2 members of Ice back for now. So no impending high ground push in the next 10 seconds or so.
And still really good just and necessary fight for them as well. If they somehow would also be able to force buybacks, it would be better, but don't think they're going to be in such a threatening position. Especially now that Jules finds Justin, gonna go for him. There's a Finger of Death already used, but he got the Hex, but needs the Earthquake to follow. Does land just on the back end of the Shadow Fiend. Hasn't popped the BKB yet and doesn't want to pop it still. Now he finally goes for this Jules. He's on the run himself, but those illusions themselves are doing so much already.
Yeah, and he's able to back out. He's going to look to reset here. The Hex does go out onto JJT. They are going to miss the Earth Spike, though, and this means they'll have to back out. B-Boy does have the double damage. The Enchant Totem is going to be dodged by Jules with that Doppelganger, and look at these illusions do work on the Earthshaker. He'll get an Enchant Totem off. He'll get Hexed up, though. The SF will be able to TP out, but they'll lose the Earthshaker. And 2 heroes down, not even forced to buy back from Mineski. Successful defense coming out from them. They hold on to the Aegis as well, and they force all of Ice back. Meanwhile, the bot lane pushing in. We'll give a little bit of farm over to Paparazzi. He's going to pick up this AC, is still a little bit off of it at this point, though. Does have the Hyperstone and is looking scarier and scarier on this Fen. Jesse Vash, though, mid lane is going to pick off the Skywrath, and that's a gem with that newly acquired Shadow Blade doing work here, and that's a big pick despite it only being a support.
I do think they have another gem back in base though, or they should have a gem on somebody else as well. It's because, well, they did get one from Mineski earlier, but even so, it's still a little bit of something that Mineski have now, just being able to gain that map control with the gem. They placed down a rather deep ward, scouting out Chestin with it immediately, and Mineski having 3 heroes close by and the courier snipe. It was probably on its way for a butterfly finish for the Eagle Song.
Yeah, at least the item wasn't on it, though, I guess. That's one saving grace for the Radiant side.
It might even be worse, because if it had been on it, at least when it respawns you can get it, but now they need to fight all their way to the just secret shop again.
Yeah, the quarterstaff was on it as well, so that's 700 or 900 gold that he doesn't have in his pockets. I believe it's actually 875 now. I think they nerfed the cost of the, or buffed the cost of the quarterstaff.
Did they really?
Yeah, 875, I believe now.
Oh man, it is.
Yeah, Eagle Song picked up into the stash of jewels, so will be a butterfly coming out for this PL sometime soon. Track goes out onto Paparazzis. They do have some high ground vision. Jules playing pretty ballsy with the heart and the Aegis. He's going to be able to zone completely this Sven just with those illusions. So much damage with that Diffusal Blade, and they'll bring down the tier 3 without any defense being mounted. They're going to start chipping away at this range racks as well, and Paparazzi's had to blink back to the fountain. Doppelganger going to be popped here. Jules going to make it out scot-free. And does force out the Fisher. He's going to look to jump forward with the Lance and continue to beat away at this range rack. Jules, the only one on the high ground. Jesse Vash going to come in with the Shadow Blade. And the Finger of Death on top of the Nether Strike will bring down the SF. Nice Echo Slam comes out, though, and Jules is going to be dropped, but it's only the Aegis. Instant buyback from Justin as well. Jesse Vash going to jump forward. Requiem is going to be popped up, but the Manta Style will be there for Jules, and he doesn't take nearly enough damage for them to continue forward. They lose the Aegis. They force a buyback on the SF, though, and get the range racks. Jump forward, Mana Drain, and the Hex onto JJT. He'll be able to be forced to safety, though, and Cuckoo dropping a little bit dangerously low. Guardian's Greaves keep him healthy, though. And now Justin, without that buyback, is playing a little bit safe. Track up onto him and his Centaur. Gonna leave Jules on the high ground. He's fighting backdoor protection right now, though, so he needs to be a little bit careful. Paparazzi waiting available. We'll be able to just drop these illusions with his Stormbolt, and Glyph is going to be popped here. Shivas goes out, doesn't hit on anyone on the range on the Radiant side, and the Mystic Flare is going to be dropped on Jules, but he's way too tanky, and with the Glimmer Cape, doesn't take nearly enough damage. And Mineski, very well played from them. Good patience, are going to take a lane of racks without losing much at all.
It's just a solid engagement, of course. Well done by Ice by even just getting rid of the Aegis, in all honesty. But of course, if you focus that hard on a rather tanky Phantom Lancer, you just don't have enough left even for the other heroes on Mineski. Of course, Phantom Lancer is the type of the carry that you can't really ignore in the fight either, just because he's going to be doing way too much.
Yeah.
So it's not like sometimes there's a carry you can maybe kite around a little bit and just go for the rest of the team. So that's not the case either. Silver Age and Spirit Breaker, 2.6k after that. The gold income is just too high from the Mineski side at the moment, and on the other side, just too slow or too low on the, not Shadowfin, but on Team Ice in general.
Yeah.
It's the lead, 20k plus in XP, 25k plus in net worth. So Ice, I mean, there's still a chance. I mean, being 1 racks behind isn't that big of a deal when you have like Shadow Races and Sven just cleaving through.
Yeah.
But Sven, he needs the AC plus a Daedalus at least.
I mean, the problem is too is that PL will just send a couple of illusions at Paparazzi, and because he doesn't want to waste his BKB on something like that, he usually gets half, if not more, of his mana pool drained down very quickly, and he's forced to back off and reset before going back in. Else he can't even pop his ultimate, so Mineski really just have this game kind of in their grasp at this point. Paparazzi needs to be able to find his own jump. They need to find an engagement on their terms for Ice, and they did pick up and invest all this gold into 3 Blink Daggers, and really the tempo of the game has been controlled by Mineski, so really good on them to be able to take favorable engagements, and a couple of, I guess, overconfident pushes from Ice in the top lane have really meant that Mineski has been controlling kind of the pace of this one, and they've picked up a lot of good items recently as well. Oa has been able to get up all his tracks off with this Guardian Greaves, Force Staff, and the Yules now. It's almost like he's unkillable, and he's giving so much gold to his team. Yeah, someone's BKB
Yeah,
went
it's
off.
Queen of Pain. It's like nothing is going on the map. You hear a BKB to go, action, action, where, got to find it.
7-second BKB on the sideline for Cuckoo. Not the biggest deal. 3,200 gold as well for this Queen of Pain, so Ice looking really, really kind of lost at this point, and it's hard to really say what they need to do in order to continue. The lanes are just pushing in. The gem is there onto Mineski's side, and there's a gem on the Radiant side as well, but they really can't get far enough out of their base to make good use of it. And meanwhile, Mineski kind of just farming up the whole map and waiting to get 6 slotted. Only 1 item away is Jules' PL. Picked up that butterfly already, and don't know how they kill him at this point.
Yeah, of course, there's also one really cost-efficient upgrade for him to go for also. It's that Diffusal Blade level 2 if he wants to go for more damage. Not like he really needs it at the moment, but this game is just really, for Ice at least, is kill the Phantom Lancer. But if they wait out the next stages and put it onto Jules again, then it's just maybe almost impossible, especially now that it's going to be the 3rd Roshan as well, the next one, so also going to carry cheese with it.
Yeah, I mean, Jules is going to have to make a big misstep. He's going to have to be out by his lonesome, out of position, because if they're able to kill him in a 5v5 engagement, all their BKBs will probably be down by then, and all of their spells will have been used. So I feel like Mineski has enough in the tank in their other 4 heroes to bring down the rest of Ice if they're able to bring down Jules, considering how long that is going to take. Jules does opt for that level 2 Diffusal Blade, so a fresh 8 charges up onto him. 2,200 gold as well. Cuckoo going to look to scout out Roche, and it is going to spawn in the next 20 seconds. So we'll see if Cuckoo sticks around for this one. Should be an easily secured Roche for Mineski again. Do you feel like the right play for Ice is to contest this Roshan? They do have some pretty good pit fight.
It's probably maybe the only way back for them into this game. They just have to do something big, and
yeah,
there's a pretty decent Roche fight. Especially should they just land the Stormhammer and like Hoof Stomp to begin it with, or maybe just Blink Echo Slam, something like that. I mean, otherwise they are just getting completely zoned out of just farming their own side of the map as well. And if they wait for too long, there's also going to be like a Hex on Queen of Pain. Maybe if they wait super long, there's also going to be an just Refresher Orb to follow it up with. And I don't know, they have to make something happen. They have the AC just freshly done now on Sven, so that's a little bit helpful.
Yeah, definitely so, but they've already jumped in the pit, and keeping the lanes pushed in, Ice are in no way able to mount any opposition towards this Roshan attempt. And now another Age is going to come out. Jules has already dropped an item to make room for it. His drums have been sold at the side shop there. He'll pick up the Aegis. Cheese goes the way of Jesse Vash on the Spirit Breaker, and with that Silver Edge, 7-second BKB available, he should be able to do some work in this fight as well. So things looking very scary for the Radiant side. 5k gold onto Cuckoo. He's going to opt not to spend it here. Maybe looking for that buyback Boots of Travel in if he dies. Does have the 40-second cooldown on Sonic Wave, so can do a lot of work if he returns to the fray.
This might be the game-ending fight here, depending on how it goes. But already some illusions created. Jules gets stunned, but there will be no follow-up. Jessivash just threatening with the charge, but cancelling it.
Cuckoo sitting in the trees was scouted out briefly by JJT. He's going to blink further to the west now and has been pinged out by the Centaur, but they can't just jump into the trees and pincer themselves in. Jump and the Sonic Wave coming out from Cuckoo brings down the Skywrath Mage. The Hoofstomp did also whiff by JJT. The Shiva's Guard is going to hit onto 3, and the blink out to the east. Yule Scepter keeps the Centaur up in the air. The Requiem going to do a whole lot of nothing, and Jules going to jump forward. Jessivash dropping low under his BKB will go down, but the 2-man impale comes out from G. Guardian's Greaves is going to keep Mineski up. Paparazzi will cleave down that Lion. Jules, though, in the backline's doing work, and he forces the buyback onto the Centaur. Paparazzi going to go down. He does have buyback available. Will he choose to expend it here? Triple kill going Cuckoo's way, but it looks like they're just going to sack this lane of racks. JJT does have his blink available. He's going to be used up once again by the Bounty Hunter and charged by Jessivash from the other side of the map. Jules starting to do work onto the tier 4s, and Silver Edge is popped by Jesse, but he's not going to jump into the fountain just yet. Paparazzi buys back, has the blink available. Orchid up onto JJT. Will keep them safe for now. Jules will be able to Manta dodge that Storm Bolt and bring down the tier 4. And now he's going to go for the next one here. And with the with the blink canceled and the BKB down on the Sven, they just can't fight yet. And because of that, they're going to have to forfeit their tier 4 completely to Jules. Impale comes out onto the sideline on the Earthshaker. The Hoofstomp is going to be dodged with that Force Staff and the Glimmer Cape, keeping G safe. Jump forward. Everyone clumped up for a big Sonic Wave from Ice. Paparazzi going to be Nether struck up and encroaching upon GG territory here. Great play every time they hit high ground for Mineski. And Ice going to battle to the death, admirably so, but their Ancient dropping quick. JJT going to be the last one to fall before the bell sounds, and well played from Mineski in their first match of the night, MPGL Season 7 LAN Finals.
Yeah, it was just Ice maybe not properly hitting the timing window of their aggression, of course. They did try, but it just backfired, and 2 times in a row getting wiped while only getting 1 kill yourself just wasn't good enough. Sven maybe should have gone for the Hand of Midas that you suggested earlier on, maybe take more of a late game approach themselves. But they didn't sit back and farm. Instead, they were grouped up constantly, just tried to break high ground, tried to find fights. But Mineski, for the most part, were too spread out on the map, so if they found anything, it was just a solo, lion kill or something like that. But of course, Ice, they aren't out yet. There are a couple of more games for them to play, and we will have Team Ice in our next game as well. In fact, it is going to be up against 5 Eva now, Miracle's team. So this group should be rather interesting here, and the next game should be starting within 27 minutes or so. Ice, of course, already set up at their PC, so we only need 5 Eva to set themselves up. So hopefully within 27 minutes we are going to have yet another game for us here. But for now we are done, just some music in between as we wait, of course. And of course, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed, be sure to check out the casters. It's at Coucher for me, at MRP Dota for my co-caster. And of course, huge shout out to the sponsors, SteelSeries and Gigabyte for making this happen. Of course, to Mineski for organizing this. And just, as said, a few songs now until we wait for the next game.
GG, guys.